Hello, I am Professor S.V. Kulkarni. I am giving you the 7th lecture of relativity topic. So today we are going to learn about the mass energy equivalence. The mass energy equivalence implies that even though the total mass of a system changes, the total energy and its momentum remains constant. Mass energy equivalence means mass and energy are the same entities and are interconvertible. Every object possesses certain energy even in stationary position. A stationary body does not have kinetic energy, but it possesses potential energy and probable chemical as well as the thermal energy also. Einstein described the relationship between mass and energy accurately using his theory of relativity, and the equation is known as Einstein's mass energy equation. So you all know the Einstein's mass energy equation. How do we write? E, the energy, is equal to m into c square, whereas m is the mass of the body and c is, you all know, the velocity of light. Now to derive this equation, we make use of the first year dynamics. All of you have learnt about the Newton's laws of motion, and according to the Newton's laws of motion, the second law, the force is nothing but rate of change of momentum of the body. So according to the Newton's second law, so what you have, the force F is equal to what you have, d by dt of the momentum. And what is the momentum? Mass into the velocity v. Okay, so we call this as equation number 1. Then we differentiate this equation with respect to t. So what do we get? It is the differentiation of a product, because both mass as well as the velocity, they are the variables according to the Einstein's relativity. So m is a variable, m into you have dv upon dt, and plus v into you have dm upon dt. Okay. So that is the differentiation, and this equation we write equation number 2. Now what happens is, because of this force, let the force displaces the body, force displaces the body through a distance what? Dx. Let us take the distance dx. Let the body displaces let the body be get displaced by a distance equal to dx. Then what is happening? Because of the displacement, work is done on the body, and that work is stored in the body as its kinetic energy. So we have the change in the kinetic energy of the body. So we write it as the change in the kinetic energy dEk is given to be equal to what? Force into the displacement dx. Okay, force into the displacement dx. Now what is the force? We make use of your equation number 2. So what is the force given by? You have m into dv by dt into dx, okay, the first term, and plus you have v into dm by dt into dx. Okay, then this can be written as, we can just slightly rearrange the terms. So what is that? M into you have dx upon dt into dv, correct, and plus you have v into dx upon dt into dm. Okay, so that is equal to, again, now what is this dx by dt equal to? It is a rate of change of position or rate of change of displacement, and rate of change of displacement is nothing but the velocity of the body. So we write this as the velocity of the body, and what do we get that? What do we get that? m into v into dv, plus you have v into v is nothing but v square into dm, correct? mv into dv plus v square dm. So this we call it as equation number 3, correct? This we call it as equation number 3. Now we make use of the law of variation of the velocity. So according to what? According to the law of variation of velocity. Variation of mass with velocity. In the last lecture we have derived this equation, the variation of mass with velocity. So what is the equation we have derived? M is equal to what? M naught divided by square root of 1 minus v square upon c square. So let us call this as equation number 4. So M is the mass of the body after completing or after gaining a velocity is equal to v, and m naught is the mass of the body in the rest position when the velocity is equal to 0. Okay. So now we can square this equation. So therefore squaring, what happens? M square is equal to m naught square divided by, you have square root of 1 minus v square upon c square, the whole square. So therefore you have m square is equal to m naught square divided by, square root sign goes, 1 minus v square upon c square. Okay. So now what we do? We just cross multiply and square these terms, take LCM and all. So what do we get? We get m square c square minus m square v square is equal to, you have m naught square c square. So take this m square v square on the other side. So what do we get? We get m square c square is equal to what? M naught square c square plus you have m square v square. Okay. Then we differentiate this equation. Okay. So differentiate. Differentiating. So differentiating, what we get? Differentiation of this is nothing but you have 2m, differentiation of m square is equal to 2m, c square is a constant, so we write as it is, and dm, okay, is equal to, now m naught square c square, m naught is a constant, c is a constant, so differentiation is equal to 0. Differentiation of m square v square, so what will we get? M square we keep constant, differentiation of v square is 2v into dv you have, plus you have differentiation of this v square is kept constant, differentiation of this is 2m into dm. Okay. So we just write this as nothing but, 2m square v dv plus 2m v square into dm. Okay. So 2m, this 2m and this 2m, they cancel throughout. So what do we get? Therefore c square dm is equal to what? C square, 1m remains here, mv into dv plus you have v square into dm. So we call this as equation number 5. Okay. So compare this equation number 5 with your earlier equation, that is equation number 3. So what do we have? We have this dEk, that is change in the kinetic energy, is equal to mv dv plus v square dm. So right hand side of this equation and right hand side of equation 5, they are same. Okay. So we just write equating what? Equating your equation 3 and 5 Equating equation 3 and 5, what do we get? We get dEk is equal to c square dm. Okay, we get c square dm. So this is your equation number 6. So what is happening? Hence change in kinetic energy, this is the change in the kinetic energy, is directly proportional to the change in the mass of the body. Okay, because c square is a constant. So change in kinetic energy is directly proportional to the change in mass of the body. When the body is at rest, its velocity is 0. Okay. So therefore what happens? Kinetic energy is equal to 0, and what happens? M becomes equal to m naught. So this condition is achieved when the body is at rest. Okay, when the body is at rest, kinetic energy is equal to 0 and m is equal to m naught. So now integrating equation 6 we get. So what we get? Integrating equation 6. So integration of dEk, that is the change in the kinetic energy, is the kinetic energy of the body, is equal to integration 0 to Ek dEk. Okay. So this is equal to integration what? 0 to Ek. What is the right hand side? C square dm. Okay. Or we can just write the same equation what? C square is a constant quantity. We take it outside. Into you have integration of the mass. How the masses are changing? It is changing from m naught for v equal to 0 to m. Okay. So dm. So what is the integration of dm? It is nothing but m. So you have c square into m between the limits m naught to m, or we can write it as Ek, the total kinetic energy of the body. We can write it as what? C square into, you have the upper limit is m minus the lower limit is m naught. Okay. So this becomes equal to, again you have Ek is equal to m into c square minus m naught into c square. So you call this as equation number 7. So you get the kinetic energy of the body is equal to mc square minus m naught c square. This is called as the relativistic formula for kinetic energy. Now, when the body is at rest, the internal energy stored in the body is m naught c square, and hence m naught c square is called as the rest mass energy of the body. The total energy E of the body is the sum of its kinetic energy as well as the potential energy, or which is also called as the rest mass energy. So therefore you have the total energy of the body, energy E is equal to what? The kinetic energy Ek plus you have the rest mass energy, plus you have the rest mass energy. So this is equal to, now Ek you can just write from equation number 7, that is mc square minus m naught c square. Okay, and plus you have the rest mass energy is m naught c square. So this is equal to m naught c square cancels. This becomes equal to E is equal to mc square. Correct? So this particular equation we just derive, E is equal to mc square, and this equation we now call it as equation number 8, and this equation is nothing but Einstein's mass energy relation. Okay, so this is called as, this is the Einstein's mass energy relation. So by using the simple dynamics and the variation of mass equation, we can derive the Einstein's mass energy relation. Now, actually this Einstein's mass energy relation, where do we find the applications of this? Okay. So, we have a lot of applications for this. The first one is Einstein's theory was used to understand nuclear fission and fusion reactions. Okay. Using the formula, it was revealed that a large amount of energy is liberated during nuclear fission and fusion reactions. Okay. Actually, it is found that the total mass of the nucleus is found to be less than its sum of its constituents particles, that is number of protons, number of neutrons, and the sum of the masses of them. Actually, this mass is found to be greater than the total mass of the nucleus in a bound state. So that particular, say, difference in the mass, we call it as the mass defect, and when this mass defect we multiply by the value c square, what we get is we get nuclear energy, and we can calculate the mass defect, and due to that we can find out the energy which is hidden inside the nucleus. So when a particular nuclear breaks, this particular energy is released, or whenever the smaller or lighter nuclei they fuse, this energy is released, and this energy is called as the energy of the fusion as well as the fission reaction. Okay, and all of you know that this energy is the nuclear energy which is utilized for different purposes. So we find the application of the mass energy relation E equal to mc square in the nuclear reactions. Secondly, it is used to find out the binding energy in an atomic nucleus, and the measurement of binding energy is used to calculate the energy released during any nuclear reaction. Then the third application is nothing but the Einstein's equation is used to find out the change in mass during the chemical reaction. And then we have the radioactivity of various elements is based on also the theory of mass energy equivalence. Then another application is to understand the effect of gravity on all the stars, moon and the planet, and to measure the age of the fossil fuels. Also to understand the universe, its constituents and age of planets, the equation is used. There are many large applications of the mass energy equivalence, and this mass energy equivalence we find in, we can just visualize, or we can have the considerable mass energy equivalence for the tiny particle. If the velocity is more, whatever you have that ends with the classical mechanics and no more relativistic mechanics or the Einstein's relativity we can use if the velocities are very small as compared to the velocity of the light. So for the relativistic particle in which the velocities are very nearly equal to the velocity of light, we have the applications of this kind of the relativistic changes for length, mass, time, as well as the energy of the body and the mass energy equivalence. It can be understood by just considering the theory of relativity. Okay, so that was the last thing in relativity we have to learn about, and in the next class we are going to solve some problems. So in the offline class I am going to solve the problems, and the same problems I will just put on the WhatsApp group for the online lecture. Okay, so we'll stop for today.